Hello everyone, welcome to Office Hours. My name is Ben Brownlee and I'm going to be taking you through this hour of Office. Yeah, we've got a sort of new soft relaunch of Office Hours. As many of you will remember, Mary Poplin used to be the host for this, and she would, every week she would spend an hour chatting to you and looking through a particular shot and sort of answering your questions as she went. I'm going to be doing the same thing today, but Office Hours is going to be slightly different from now in the future. So what some of you will have seen is that we are at a different time zone, or a different time anyway. We're also in a different time zone. We're going to be having different hosts coming in and working Office Hours. So it's not just going to be me doing it every single week. It's going to be a variety of Boris FX experts from different parts of the globe, focusing on different software as well. So wherever they are in the world, it's always going to be, I think, 4 p.m. local time. So that means that some of the people who are around and about in different parts of the globe actually have a chance to watch us live and ask questions live, which I think is going to be a nice little thing for everyone to be able to do. Yeah, like I said, this is a soft relaunch. We are working with a completely different system now. So you are going to be my guinea pigs, basically. I can see chat over here. I also have fun things like being able to show bits of chat, which is going to be fun. So if you do have any questions, or you want to see something, then just let me know, and I will sort of try to answer your questions as we go. One of the other things to know about is that there is about a 20-second delay at the moment between me speaking and you actually seeing it. And the reason for that is based off of feedback from Office Hours viewers. They wanted to have live auto captions that could be live translated into into your first language. And the only way to do that is actually to have this little bit of a gap between me talking and you watching. Now, normally that's not going to be a problem at all. It's just going to be it's just going to mean that when you type your questions, I will get to them and I will read them, but it might not be absolutely instantaneously. All right, so we are back. Let's take a little look at the shot we're doing. And here we go. Actually, let's move to a slightly different look. There we go. Let's try that. See, lots of fancy toys now. I'm going to have fun with this. All right, so we're going to be focused a lot on Mocha and Silhouette today. And the actual job that we're going to do, if we have a little look through here, is if I stop around about here, I'm just going to focus in. You'll see that someone has left their hand in the shot. This wasn't actually done by accident. This was done on purpose because they needed to hold the metal door back. It kept sort of swinging out. So, when this was being shot, basically the decision was made. It's going to be better to have the door coming in and being, just painting this hand out, than have the door sort of flapping around and just not looking as good. Do I agree with that decision? Absolutely, 100%. So we're going to start with this here, and we're going to end up something like this. Depends on how much we can get done in an hour. I think we can finish this shot quite easily. And this is what we're going to end up with. And at first, actually, this seems like a really nice and easy job, except for one thing. Actually, probably except for three things, but we'll get to each of those as we go on. Like, the first thing actually is the fact that this hand doesn't just cross over one area. So if you look where the hand is, it's going across the brickwork. So we need to paint out the hand over the brickwork and over the plants. And it also goes over the metal door as well. So that's two separate areas that we're going to have to paint out, or remove the hand from in some ways. So that's it's not a big issue, but it's worth knowing about, and it's worth acknowledging. So these type of multi-planar removes, we have to sort of think about a little bit before we just go ahead and do them. Simply because we're going to need actually quite a lot of tracking info to get this shot done properly the first time. And the best place for doing any sort of tracking is obviously going to be Mocha Pro. So we're going to just add in Mocha Pro here. I'm just going to let my computer wake up. It's been stuck at this this screen for a little while we've been waiting to stream. So I do not begrudge the hard drives waking up. Actually, should get rid of the metal hard drives and only just work off the SSD, which I think I am. All right, yeah, it's good to see some favourite names already popping up in the chat. So hello, welcome everyone in the chat as well. All right, so let's launch Mocha Pro and take a little look at what we've got. So the first thing that we're going to look at actually is going to be the door here. I'm going to start off in classic mode. I think we could do some of this in essentials, but actually most of this is going to be handled better in classic mode, I think. Let's just play this back. I really don't want to do all of this shot either. I'm gonna come in and maybe just take from frame 56, which is the first frame where we can see the hand, to frame 96. That's the last frame, yeah, where the hand shouldn't be. Like frame 97, the hand's coming out to grab, it's allowed to be there. Frame 96, no. Okay, so let's just go between make frame 56 to 96 our work range, and we'll just look between our work range. Alrighty. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is just track this door in, and the reason for that is obviously we want to be able to sort of just patch this in. I think a patch would be the best way of handling this one. So let's just do like a regular shape. I'll turn on our little overlays to make that a little bit easier for you to see, and we'll just try and do this here. And I'm going to use like a regular planar tracking technique of just trying to avoid the areas that I don't want to track in. So we've got enough planar tracking information on the rest of this door that don't really have to worry about this hand here. So that's kind of nice. Well, let's call this one door track. Always name our stuff first. And let's come down. Let's I'm just gonna do that one there, because I could see my camera was getting a little bit stuttery for some reason. Hopefully you can all still hear me properly. All right, so let's just set this perspective and track this through. Just see what we've got. It's looking pretty good. I track that backwards. Tracking terminated prematurely. I don't think that's premature at all. I think that's perfectly reasonable, considering how little information there was there. Let's look and see if our track is all right. It's all right up until around about here. So let's expand out the area that it's tracking. And I don't need perspective from here. I probably just need translation. So let's come through here. Yeah, thanks for letting me know about the frame rate in the chat. That's definitely definitely a bad thing. I'm not sure what was going on there. I could blame the heat or I could blame the new system. We'll see which one it was. There we go. So for that, like those last few frames, we're not getting any perspective movement anyway. So there's no point just trying to track in perspective there. We don't need it for what we're going to do with this. Here's my little trick for checking to make sure that our tracking looks right, because of course we can think it looks right and then actually it isn't right. I'm going to go into stabilize, going to turn on all motion, maximum smoothing, just play that back, and I'll play that back. I'll set my frame that I started tracking on, frame 74. I'll put that in the frame list, and I'll turn off all the overlays up here. Show the cursor overlays. That's the overlays on and off. I'll turn this off as well. So that's looking, it's looking pretty good. Now there's one little thing though. There's one little thing. I don't think perspective has quite captured everything within this door, because like there is a little bit of bending going on, because I think because of the type of metal that it is, it's bending in, so there is a little bit of bending, so it's not just a plain like perspective movement. So I'm going to do something different with this. I'm going to use the PowerMesh, and this actually needs me to do a couple of different things. Let's turn our overlays back on up at the top. Boom, boom. So I need to set up where my mesh is going to be, and the original mesh is going to be made up of this shape. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of make this shape a lot bigger than it needs to be. So I've got a lot more sort of mesh to play around with. And this is a very common technique that I use and I see used quite a lot. And the reason for this, if I just generate up that mesh here, maybe let's set this to, actually turn on my mesh and generate it up. Let's set this to uniform. Let's have a little think. Let's make sure we can see the mesh. That's probably a little bit too big on the mesh size. Yeah, we should be all right there. We'll take that somewhere in there. Yeah, the reason I'm making this bigger is because when we make this initial mesh up, we want this to extend out beyond the realms of our shape that we're tracking in, that we want to keep, because we want to keep a little bit of a border on this mesh shape that goes outside. It's just going to help us in the future, and we will definitely see how that's going to work when we stabilize this up. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So now I've got my mesh in place, or generated up anyway. I can now move my shape back down to the areas that I want tracked in, because anything that's going to be outside of this shape is just going to use the planar planar tracking data rather than the mesh tracking data. And see here, like we've got the bend in the metal gate here, so I'll just add a little point in somewhere around about there. Yeah, so that's kind of defining the gate quite nicely. Now, because we've made our shape a little bit bigger, I want to make sure that all of these other bits that cross over our mesh are going to be properly cut out. And that's not just going to be, silly things like the hand here and the hand up here. It's also any kind of shadows that the hand also pulls in. I don't think this hand pulls in many shadows, to be fair. So what I'll do is I'll just make up a new shape. I will rename this up here. I will call this one hand track mat, because it's going to exclude that out. Actually, it's going to be hand man track mat. Yeah, and let's just exclude some of that. I'm going to be a little bit generous with how much I take out, but not too generous. And I think I should be able to I can either track this, but I probably can just link that to the door track, to be fair. And that should be all right. Yeah. That's going to be fine. And at this point here, let's add in another keyframe. I can add a keyframe down here, or just by moving this back and forth, that'll add a keyframe in as well. Because then when the hand goes away, I can just sort of pull this back in. So maybe we can get a little bit more data from these holes. I don't think it's going to make too big a difference, to be fair. Alrighty, so that's our main hand track. Let's see what's going on with this top one as well, because we don't want to track this in. I'm not that fussed actually with what's going on up here, so I'm not going to make too big a deal of this one. So I'll just connect that to the main door track, and I'll call this hand female track mat. It's just to exclude just to exclude this little area from the tracking. It's not going to make a big difference at the moment, because she doesn't actually cross over on the cross over onto the door too much. There's a little bit there, so that's fine. Maybe I'll actually add another one in here. I'm not going to be too fussed, because most of the paintwork that we're going to be doing is going to be happening down here. So if we're not 100% on what's happening with her hand, it's not going to bother me too much. There we go, that should be fine. Cool, so now we've got our main door track done. We've got our hand track mats in place. Let's color code this as well. And you can see now the track mats are cutting out of our door. Let's track this through with our mesh in place. So I'm going to turn on tracking back up here again. Lovely. I am going to make sure that we're tracking in mesh data, that we are. Now I'm also going to be using existing planar data, because we've already done the main track here. I don't want to have to come in and redo that planar tracking. We've already got good tracking on it. So let's turn that on. Splines in this layer have more than one keyframe. Mesh tracking in animated spline may result in incorrect results. Am I okay with that? I think I'll be all right, but let's get rid of this keyframe anyway, because I don't want it. There we go. All right, let's track this through, see how it's going. We're smoothing this. I'll just keep auto smooth this on for a while. See how we get on. Let's just track this forwards. And just look at the edges of that mesh. Like anything that's outside of the shape isn't distorting at all. It's just taking on the planar track. That's really nice. And here I'm expect this to go quite easily as well. There might be a little bit of, like, as the motion blur comes in, there might be a little bit of tearing and stuff. Not tearing, but warping. But that's going on outside of the areas that I'm interested in. So we should be all right there. Let's test it again. Come to stabilize. I'm not going to stabilize with the smooth anymore, because we are actually going to stabilize using the mesh warp. And I'm going to unwarp. I'm going to let's use medium. Let's turn off all the overlays. Turn off this one as well. And let's just play that back, see what that's doing. And if this is right, then our door shape should be absolutely rock solid. No matter what else is going on around it, our door shape should be rock solid. And I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I like that. I still see we're not getting like great frame rates as I'm playing this back, which is a bit of a shame. But we should be seeing this in real time. But all right, we're still working out the kinks on this one. All right, let's save that. Okay, cool. So we've got the door track, which is actually now a door mesh track. Let's rename that one so we know what we've got happening. And another little trick, something that I try to do consistently, we need to know what frame we've got set as our fixed frame. There's our in the frame list. So where is our reference frame? Well, frame 74 is where we started. So let's keep frame 74 as our reference frame. So that's going to be useful for us later. So at the end of this track, I'm going to say F74, so we know that this is going to be stabilized around frame 74. Cool. All right. So the other thing we want to do is we want to get a track going for the background as well, because we've, like we said at the beginning, we've got to remove this hand. We've got two different places we want to remove it. We want to remove it in front of the door, and we want to remove it in front of the wall. Two separate planes, two separate motion. So let's do that. I'm going to make a new track, and I think, hang on, let's take a step back and just take a look at our clip. Okay, the wall goes out a little bit there, but the plants stay in all the time. That's good. Are the plants moving in the wind? Nope, they're not. Okay, so that is actually going to be a good place to track. I should also say about these office hours, when we're looking at shots, the idea of these shots is that we're basically coming to these shots pretty cleanly. I've not really worked with the shot at all. I've taken a little look to see whether my ideas are the rough ideas are going to work, but maybe those ideas aren't going to work, and we have to sort of work our way around it. So we're both kind of approaching this shot from a similar point of view, having not really seen it or worked with it too much. Okay, so with that in mind, let's just track this in. I don't think I need to do anything clever with this, so let's just call this one background track. I will track in perspective because this looks like a nodal pan, so it looks like, I don't know if it's on a tripod or whether it's just quite smooth. Actually, I doubt it's on a tripod, but it feels like quite a sort of like a pan from a single point. So I am going to turn on perspective to try and capture some of that movement. Let's just track back. We'll see if this works or if it doesn't. We're exploring this together. I'm going to stop there. It's very, very quick on the draw there, because if you take a little look, we've got our door about to go in front. That's actually not a problem. I just have to make sure that the background track is underneath the door mesh there, so that when this comes in, it's going to act as a little track mat. Let's just track the rest of this through. This should be absolutely fine. Yeah. Cool. I'll do my little trick again. Make sure everything's in the right place. Let's set my frame list up here. Smooth all motion, maximum smoothing on the stabilize module. Hit play on that. Let's turn off all the overlays. And that wall, I think that wall is pretty much locked down. I hope. Looks pretty good. I think that's good enough for jazz. Cool. So now we've got like most of the hang on, let's see if my camera is going to do anything good here. Oh, I think the frame rate's back up again. All right. Yeah, so I think we've got a lot of the data that we actually need right now to be able to handle this shot. We've got the background track mesh. Oh, sorry, the background track, which is going to be for the hand on the wall, and we've got the door. Nope, that's gone off straight away. Oh my gosh. Let's see if that's working. Yeah, that's working. All right. Yeah, so we've got the and we've got the door mesh track as well. So that's, you know, those two things should be enough to actually drive through the rest of the shot. So let's come back in now. Save this up and exit out. Cool. All right. So now we're back in Silhouette. I'm using Silhouette for this because I really like the you know, the paint system in here. But actually, these techniques that we're going through today, they could be done in pretty much any software, any sort of compositing software. It's going to be the same sort. Any questions or comments? Please just keep them coming. I see some thanks in there. Thanks very much, Michael. Good to see you. Yeah, so let's take a little look at this. So this is Mocha Pro. I'm going to call this one. This is frame. What do we say? It's frame 74. I've been talking, so I forgot. Let's have a little look again. I don't want to start working on the wrong frame. Yeah, frame 74. Okay, good. Cool. All right, and so we've got frame 74. Let's come in now and add in a bit of paint. And I think I'm gonna actually, before I do that, let's trim this up to the same work area as well. What did we say? We said 56 in point and 90. Yeah, okay, 96 as the out point there. Good. So we set up our work range. Perfect. Good. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's do some paint work, and let's paint up the hand first on the brick wall. Okay, so let's come to my my paint, and we'll just go to paint. Thank you very much. Boom. What we're going to do here, I think. Yeah, Matt asks what I'm going to be using Silhouette for. Matt, I'm going to be using Silhouette to do the paint and the comping. So you can basically be doing this paint anywhere. You could even actually, for the most part, for this section anyway, you could do this paint work in Photoshop. All I want to do for this is just get a clean section over the hand, a clean bit of brickwork over the hand. And with that in mind, I probably just use clone actually. So I'm gonna come in. Let's hold down Shift just to clean up the bricks, or to move that, and use Control to change my brush size, and I'll just clone a little bit out here. Now this might not match in perfectly. I'm fine with that. We'll deal with that as we come. We'll just take off a little bit here and there. So now we've got that one. Let's actually change our source to output. Maybe we'll come in here, and I'll clone over the top there. So this isn't really a content aware fill. This is more sort of like just cloning from one area to the other. We'll be doing something a little bit more interesting with this in a second, but it's just basic cloning. So one of the things that we've got at the moment now is we've got our hand pretty much taken out. Let's have a little look. This is the before, this is the after. It's pretty rough and ready. I think it's going to be absolutely fine either way it is. But one other thing that I can do, and something that I like to do, is we've got like a different ways of looking at this. We can look at just like a color layer or a detail layer as well. So if we just look at the color layers and we look at the brickwork here, where I've done the clone, like we've got an obvious change from color to color. And I'm going to get rid of that. And I can either use clone again, or actually I could just use like another tool. I'm going to use like the drag tool, which is a little favorite of mine. And I can come down here and only clone out like the color, or only be doing the dragging in the color area, rather than doing it across the whole image. So if we take a look here, we can basically see that I'm just now able just to, you know, come in and blend that together a lot more seamlessly than we had before. And I still keep all the nice texture, the nice brick texture that I had previously. We've just made that area down there a little bit nicer. I can do the same thing down here. So we've got slightly blue in this area, and I'll just blend through in the blue. Maybe I'll take the opacity down just a little bit here, bring this up, and just blend that in just a little bit more, so we don't get you know, obvious repeating patterns coming through, but we do keep in that nice texture. And I think that's probably going to be good enough for jazz, as I do enjoy saying. What I will do though is probably overpaint this a little bit more, just so that we aren't kind of coming back in about 10 minutes or however long it takes me to finish the rest of the shot. Probably a little bit longer than 10 minutes, to be fair. Yeah, come back and wish that I'd painted a little bit more at the start. And I probably want to paint in normal again. So I'll just clone this area out a little bit more. Maybe turn the opacity back up again, Ben. And there we go. So I'll just do a big, long, ugly stroke down the bottom there, because I know I can come in and just smooth that out a little bit. Let's just come to the color. Just bring that out a little bit more there. There we go. And with the detail, actually to sort of smear that in a little bit, or to blend that in a little bit more, maybe I'll just clone in the detail, but at a slightly lower opacity, just to blend that in a little bit. I'm not really worried about where I'm cloning from in this case, because I'm only cloning on like a still, or you know, I'm only going to be cloning in on one frame. Yeah, that's all right, and that's fine. A little bit of repetition down there. Someone's asked if I can touch a little bit on rotoing hair elements from a paint, if possible, please. Yes, I can, but not in this session. That's a really good topic for a different session, and I will absolutely add it to my list. What I'll do here is I'll just get rid of that color there. Cool. Okay, so I've painted on one frame, and I actually only need to paint on one frame. So I'll come in here into the hold, add another little node onto the paint, and I'm only going to paint on frame 74. So this paint session is just across the entire area. Nice and easy. All right. So that's painted. Let's see what happens when we try and comp it over the top. So I'll come into we'll come into transform, shall we? And I will use a transform. Let's bring that over here. And I will bring that in there, which is my hold one there, and I'm going to just take the tracking data directly from my Mocha Pro node. So this is something that's actually, it's new in Silhouette 2022.5. We got, sorry, Silhouette 2022. We've got like more stuff that we can do with this data port. Maybe we'll see some other stuff here, but one of the nice things is I can just pipe that in to any of my yellow inputs, and then I can come down here and actually see all of the tracks that I've done. So we want to use background track, and we're going to do a match move on this. Let's just play that through. Yeah, so that's going to work, I think. We just need to comp that over the top. And this is going to need a little bit of roto. I love a bit of roto. Let's tidy this up before it gets too messy. I'm just I'm using the option key just to add in a little dot node into the connectors so that we can keep this looking a little bit tidier. I do like tidy things. I also like, speaking of tidy things, let's get rid of that so you can see all of the screen for now. Okay. Yeah, so when it comes to roto, like one of the things that I like to do is to do as little roto as possible. And one of the things that's going to help me do as little roto or little manual roto as possible is to recycle and reuse that tracking data. So in the Mocha Pro node, I can actually come in and use my actions down here. Let's come down here to create either a tracker node or a roto node directly from the Mocha tracking data. Let's turn that off. Let's bring this over here and again make this a little bit neater. I'm just using the option key or alt key just to bring that in there. Cool. So with this roto node, I've now got all of the data that I created in inside of Mocha. Now I don't need most of this. In fact, most of this is going to be completely irrelevant to me, but I'm not going to get rid of all of the tracking data. The tracking data might be useful later. I'm just going to get rid of the shapes. So I'm going to take rid of my hand shape and my other hand shape. The door mesh, or the door shape is pretty good. I'm going to keep that, but I will get rid of my background shape. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually make sure that this door mesh is going to look good, and I don't really want to use the one that we created in Mocha. I'm just going to create a new one actually, one that is a little bit more focused on the area that we're after. So it's just going to be down here. Okay, now I need to see where this door is going. Is this going down this way, or is this the end of the door? I think that's the edge of the door. Yeah. And I'll just make a very simple shape around here. Very simple indeed. Let's come in. I'm using the Alt key again just to open this up a little bit. There we go. So this should do most of the work for me if I've put it in the right layer, which I had not. That's annoying. So I'm going to put this in the door mesh layer, and let's just hit T to transform this back into place. Yeah, that's going to be fine. And let's see where this actually sits. Yeah, it's pretty good there. Yeah, that's fine there. And let's see what happens when it moves along. Oh, it does move along quite a bit. I mean, I am now very glad that we did the PowerMesh. You can really see how much that's changed up as it's bent across. And let's use the brush reshape tool for this. This is one of my favorite little tools. So I can just use a brush to come in and select multiple points and just place that, nudge those into place really. And the further a control point is away from where we're doing, like the better it is for us. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, Valarts asks, for those of us who came in late, can quickly state what the task for this shot is? Absolutely, yeah. So just to reiterate what we've got, we start off with this shot here, which is a lovely little shot, but because of what was happening with this door, someone had to hold the door shut before coming in and doing what they were actually meant to do, which is attack and be a zombie of some sort. I'm sure that's a zombie, maybe. So what we're trying to do is actually just get rid of that hand. And it's a little bit trickier for us because we've got to get rid of the hand on this metal door that we're seeing is a little bit tricky, and we also need to get rid of the hand on the background as well. So that's two separate planes that we're trying to get rid of. So at the moment we're focused on the door, like just getting getting the roto done for the door and for the background, and that looks pretty good as doors go. I'm happy with that. And let's get another shape done for the background. Well, we've got a background track in there. I'll just use a little square shape. I don't want to take in the arm if I can help it. Take in a little bit more of the background than we want, and there we go. And what I'll do here is I'll just move this shape up just a little bit, so that we sort of keep the hand going in, but we exclude this arm. Yeah, if you another thing to know if you're just coming in late, like this is our revamped office hours. This is the sort of very soft launch of our office hours, and what we're basically doing here is coming to a shot pretty fresh, almost new, and just seeing what we can do to work with this, and we sort of take people's questions as we go. All right, so let's hit A just to have a little look at this. So we just want to get the background. I've now got a troll in the chat saying, why aren't we streaming in 4K? We all know why I'm not streaming in 4K. Thank you very much. All right, so yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come into the to the roto here, and I'm just going to exclude the this spline that we created for the door. So now we're only getting the background. We're only getting the hand in the background. So that's cool. Let's actually do two versions of this roto node. I'll call this one roto background, and I'm going to just duplicate this. So Control D, and I'm going to call this one. This one's going to be roto door. Let's call that one roto door. Let's pipe another copy of this in here, and I don't want to see that door mesh. We just want to see the sorry, I don't want to see the background track. I just want to see the door. That's what I want to do, and we are going to add this in. So let's just change that up. Boom. There we go. So this is going to be useful for later, maybe. I think I have a plan of what we're doing. I do not have an exact plan. I have a rough plan of what we're doing. All right, we've got 15 minutes to finish the shot. All right, let's see what we can do, because we're strictly 1 hour on this. Let's get some of this done. All right, no more mucking about. Let's come in. Let's add a comp. Where are we? Composite. Just going to add a little regular composite here. The composite has got my foreground, so that's going to be the painted one we had. It's going to have a background, which I will just take from the background. Boom. And it's going to have a roto mask thing for it, which is going to be that one. Excellent. Let's just play that back. Do you know, that's working pretty well. Could do with a bit of motion blur. If only there was a way of just coming into the transform here, enabling motion blur, setting my shutter phase so it matches. What's that? Minus 90. Yeah, if only there was a way of doing that. Oh, I've just done it. We also need to blur that roto out a little bit. That's fine. Let's come in. Let's see if I can just blur the whole thing. Yeah, do you know what? Oh, no. Is that going to be... That's not going to be good enough. No, Ben. We're going to have to blur things individually. Right, so let's blur... Oh, yeah, I want to keep that door mesh pretty sharp, actually. Let's just blur the background. Yeah, let's do that. Reset that. There we go. So I've now got that sharp edge on the door. Maybe not quite that sharp. I could even actually probably turn the motion blur on that one. I should be all right. So that's looking all right, I think, for the first half. Well, we need to just get rid of this other hand now. And actually, this is going to be amazingly simple. And the reason it's going to be amazingly simple is we've done all the work. We've done like the hard work already. When we did our Mocha tracking right at the very start, this was, you know, this is going to be most of the stuff we actually need to do. So if I come in, we've got a new way of working with this in Silhouette 2022, which is the PowerMesh warp. So I can take stuff directly from, well, let's just bring in another copy of the original here. Yeah, I can take stuff directly from my Mocha Pro node and pipe that into my PowerMesh warp. So I can use any of the meshes that I create here. It's the one that we started at on frame 74, and I'm going to unwarp this. I'll set this to normal to begin with, and let's have a little play through. And that's going to give us that nice sort of stabilized plate that we were working on previously. So that's kind of nice, because it means I can come into to paint now. Because I could actually, I suppose I could do a another thing where I just sort of paint one frame, and then track that in, or I've got another idea, or we do this on live paint. So I'm going to pipe a paint into the PowerMesh warp. So this is the stabilized stuff. And let's come into frame 74. I mean, this is the stabilized one. It's fine wherever we want to start. And let's just paint this up a little bit. Let's turn my overlays back on. And let's see what I can do here. I'm trying to, like, when I'm picking my clone points, I'm picking from dot to dot. So I can just sort of come in here, and maybe this is going to work. Let's see what's happening. So everything's going in there, coming in from the input. Let's clone this. Am I seeing my input? Yes. Good, good, good. All right. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. Oh, people want more office hours already. Goodness me. Oh, that's a good sign. Yeah, I'm just doing a quick clone in here. I'll do a similar thing to what I did previously as well, I think, just because I want to keep those colors going in. So I might actually just clone in the color down a little bit. So we have a look at the color there. I might just clone the color through just to with a little bit less opacity and a lot more softness, just to kind of come in and just get a little bit more of a sort of softer edge there. Opacity 9, that's a little bit too soft, Ben. There we go. Yeah, that's better. There we go. And round about here, let's get rid of this green, or at least reduce it. Let's bring the opacity up a little bit. Yeah, look at that. Lovely. So that's cool. So we've done this on one frame now, but because we've stabilized everything up, I actually think I could just auto paint this across all of my frames. Well, actually, no, not all of my frames, across this whole work area. And let's just, I don't need to do any match moving. I don't need to do any transform because the PowerMesh is doing all the stabilization for me. So I'm going to set this going, and then we can have a little chat and see what's going. And oh, we've got some, yeah, very nice feedback, everyone. Thank you to everyone who's writing lovely comments in the chat. It does mean a lot. Yeah, so I'm currently working on a shot that I've already got, but the idea with these office hours is to also help people with their own shots. So if you've got a shot that you want to sort of have a look at and send our way, we will be getting a mechanism for you to send us those shots. We don't have that quite live at the moment, but if if you type in, actually leave a comment in the forums, that's probably a best place to go to. So that's forum.borisfx.com. Yeah, leave something in there and we'll sort of see what we can do. All right, so we take a little look here. This actually worked out pretty well. We might have something interesting happening over on this part right at the very end, but I'm not overly concerned about that yet. Someone's asking if we can have this original access to this original shot for practice. Yes, this shot I will be able to make this shot available for people to practice on. So again, that's another thing we've got to try to figure out a mechanism for doing that. It's probably going to be just a link in the replay description here. So is there an email of the presenter? Yes, there is, but we're going to be doing, because of the way that we're going to work these office hours, it's not going to be just me presenting, it's going to be rolling presenters. So there's going to be a shared, like a shared email address. Probably something like officehours@borisfx.com. Alrighty, okay, so yeah, now we've got the paint working. Let's undo the what's called the warp that we've done. First thing I'm going to do actually is use another transform here. I'm just going to use a DOD here, just to correctly set the domain of definition. I think we're working at HD on this one. This isn't actually strictly necessary. It should fit back in without this, but just for the sake of my sanity, I'm just going to add that in there so we can unwarp this again. Let's take the mesh warp back in, use this, and I'm going to rewarp this. So we unwarped before. Let's rewarp, and let's have a little look, and that should fit in quite nicely. And that's pretty good. Okay, so now we've got the paint on the door. We can just see a little bit of the hand poking through. Well, that's fine. because we've already got a hand painted out over here. So let's do our final little bit, final little comp. Going to add another composite. It's going to add the door in here. Have what we did come in the background, and let's use our other roto door. Let's zoom out a little bit here. So there's the door roto. Let's pipe that in there. I might need to do the same thing as we did previously and just feather this up just a wee little bit. Just a tad, there we go. Let's play that through. And do you know what? We've only gone and done it within the hour. All right, thanks for joining us, Michael. I'll see you later. See you next week. And that's our finished shot. So we've done like the like both of the removes, like the remove of the hand from the background and the remove of the hand from the door. And actually we did it all with pretty much this here. Like this Mocha tracking data that we created right at the beginning of the session has spawned off our roto backgrounds for the door and for the hand. Let's make this look a little bit neater. It's also spawned off the tracking data that we used for the transform to transform up the painted frame, and it's also done the PowerMesh that's done the warp and the done the unwarp and the warp for the door. So everything has just been basically handled by that one bit of Mocha tracking that we did right at the beginning. So here's the before, here's the after, and I think we've done all right. I think we've done it for our first session. I don't think that's been too bad, and we've had hardly any tech difficulties. I was expecting a lot more tech difficulties, to be fair. What I didn't get a chance to do I didn't get a chance to try any of my lower thirds, but we will be fixing all of this in the future. So yeah, just want to thank everyone for joining me for this, the soft relaunch of office hours for Boris FX. If you weren't with us at the beginning, what this is going to be, it's going to be a rotating group of hosts. So it's not going to be me every week. It's going to be hosts from around the world. So what this lets us do is it lets us talk to people around the world as well. So wherever they are, it's always going to be 4 p.m. for them, local time. So so basically I'm in Central European time, so that lets me talk to a certain number of people. We're going to have people who are going to be on East Coast time. Some people are going to be on Australian East Coast time. So it's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun. We will get all the technical difficulties ironed out hopefully soon. We'll also have an email address where people can add in their comments or send us shots to look at. We're not always going to be looking at a Mocha Pro. We're not always going to be looking at Silhouette. We're going to be looking at sort of any of the Boris FX products. So if you've got an idea of something that you want to be discussed in office hours, then we will send stuff over, or you can send stuff over to us. All right. I want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining me. My name is, hang on, this is the big one. Let's see if I can figure this out properly. My name is Ben Brownlee for Boris FX, and I will see you again in the next. Actually, no, I'm not going to see you again in the next office hours. I'm going to see you again in 4 hours' time at Boris FX Live. So, so if you're around in 4 hours' time and you haven't got enough of me for that, Yeah, join me in 4 hours where I'll be talking to some very interesting people about optics. We're going to be yeah, chatting about optics and lots of fun stuff around photo manipulation. All right, I will see you again soon. Thanks everyone for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.